Hey everyone, welcome to Pineapple Knits, a knitting and spinning videocast. I'm Marina, and you can find me everywhere on the web at Pineapple Yarn, especially Instagram where I'm most active. And you can visit my hand-dyed yarn and fiber company at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you again for joining me this week. It's so great to be here again, and I hope you're having a really great December and Advent. It has been so busy here at my house. My kids are kind of bouncing off the wall with excitement. It's always a super busy time of year for me, just as a mom, and with the business, it's just really busy. So I'm trying to find little bits of time here and there to just calmly enjoy the season and have some downtime to really soak it all in. But I hope it's really great where you are. Here in South Carolina, the weather has been super beautiful. It's definitely been cool, but when I say cool, I mean, 60 degrees. So not terrible, but it has been super sunny every day, and that is definitely something I enjoy. So yeah, that's what has been going on around here. Right now, I'm drinking a cup of tea. This is Trader Joe's Spiced Chai, I believe it's called. And this is from a year ago, so I don't know if they have that this season. I haven't even been to Trader Joe's, so sadly. It's, I think the closest one is probably maybe 45 minutes away from me, so not bad, but I just haven't found the time to go, sadly. Yeah, I've just been busy in the shop and busy knitting. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, I have one finished project, a finished sewing project. If you followed me on Instagram, you'll know what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. Basically, the backstory to this is that my girls were invited to a dress-up Christmas party, and my oldest daughter had I guess back in the day it was Pleasant Company. Now it's American Girl. It's not owned by Pleasant Company anymore. But old school Pleasant Company, American Girl. She has a Felicity dress that was mine, and so I decided to make my other daughter, who is 9, decided to make her kind of like a coordinating dress, and so I finished it. This is what it looks like. I modified the pattern, I wouldn't say heavily, but I definitely modified it. So this is basically what it looks like. It's very long. I'm sorry I don't have a better way to show you here. But I used the pattern Simplicity 3725 View D. But I didn't really use View D because I used the bodice from View A and B. And then even that I modified, so we'll just go with that. But I guess I'll just walk you through and tell you what I did. So for the bodice, what I did is I modified it. It was a high neckline. The pattern itself is not a colonial style pattern. It's there's a colonial dress, there is a pilgrim style dress, and then also like a pioneer style dress with like a high collar. And so what I did is I took the bodice from the pilgrim / pioneer dress and I widened the neckline, and I did that just really like on my daughter. I put pins and saw where it would be kind of a nice neckline. And this is the same style of neckline that my daughter's Felicity dress has. Then from there, I just made made a facing. This is an unlined dress, so it has a facing. I made a facing to match the new widened neckline. And I wanted to put a cotton eyelet lace ruffle for an accent on the neck. and then also the sleeves, because that's what my daughter's Felicity dress has, and it's just so cute. Such a really, really cute accent. The cotton eyelet lace that I ordered, unfortunately, and the picture was a little bit misleading. It didn't show this, but it had that shiny kind of polyester thread that actually made the embroidery. So I wasn't able to dye it an off-white. This is all kind of an off-white material. Then I started looking through my fabric stash, which isn't huge, but one time years and years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I purchased, I think it was on eBay, I bought a lot of, I guess, vintage trims for some reason. I don't know why. And included was this trim. I've never used it. It was the perfect amount. I maybe have like a foot, maybe like 12 inches left, but I'm going to show you a close-up of it. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's all cotton embroidery of pineapples. What? First of all, y'all know I love pineapples because obviously, right? But then also pineapples are such a traditional, I guess, theme or image. The imagery in colonial times was pineapples were very popular. So I guess they're very iconic, they're very reminiscent of kind of colonial America, probably in England as well at that time. So that was super exciting. I couldn't even believe it. So that's what I did there. And then as far as the sleeves go, I guess that's the next modification that I made, and that's probably the most significant. What I did on the sleeves, and this is what I do with all kids' clothes, I really despise sleeves. I can't tell you how much I despise them. And I think because with, I guess, sewing at home patterns, they include way too much ease for the sleeve cap. That's my opinion, way too much ease. And so when you're making the sleeve cap, I find it very difficult to, if you don't want the ruffles on the top of a sleeve, it's very difficult to force all of that ease in and get like a really nice smooth cap. So what I did back in the day when I had time to do these things, I would just redraft the entire sleeve cap, and it really wasn't a big deal. Back then, it wasn't a big deal, and I would just include less ease. Essentially that means if you can think of a sleeve as a bell curve, you're just lowering that curve just so there's less gathers that have to be made, less ease in order to go through that sleeve cap. On this pattern, I have a few ruffles here and there. I mean, this is not perfect by any means, but I'll tell you what I did is I just trimmed a little top of the sleeve cap and it was fine. It eliminated a little bit of that ease, and for this dress, it was just perfect. So what I do next with sleeves, this is the next modification that I make, is I sew for a bodice. I sew the shoulder seams. I do not sew the side seams at all. And then what I do is I actually finish any kind of embellishments that need to go around the bottom of the sleeve. So in this case, what I did is for this arm, I guess, this is basically the cuff, even though it ends at the elbow. What I did is I gathered all of this, but I did not gather it in a tube. I just gathered it flat and sewed it onto the flat sleeve. So everything is flat. The sleeve is completely flat at this point. I finish all of this, the hem, the trim, everything. That's what I do. I sew this sleeve into the bodice. And then what I do is I sew from the waist all all the way up through the sleeve. So I sew this all as one piece. I do not do a set-in sleeve where you have the sleeve as kind of a cylinder or a tube and you're kind of easing it into the bodice armhole. I don't do that. I sew all of this as one seam, and it is so fast. It's you know, the only tricky part is just matching up the seams under here and then at the waist. That's it. It's so fast. And you know, if you didn't want to do, if you wanted to do the hem last, you can totally do that, and it's so fast. Anyway, that's my trick for sleeves. And then I did an invisible zipper at the back, which I'm sure they didn't specify an invisible zipper in the pattern. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really follow the pattern. I just kind of sew. I just cut out the pattern and then I start sewing. I'm trying to think what else. It just has a gathered waistline and then a regular hem, and that's it. I mean, it was a very simple pattern, and yeah, not much to say about this dress. She had a wonderful time. They both had a wonderful time at their party. She received tons of compliments on this dress, which is so sweet because, yeah, it just made her feel special, and it was really fun. You know, I used to sew all the time when the kids were younger. My two oldest especially, I used to sew quite a bit for them, and I just don't anymore because of time constraints and space constraints. So this was just a really fun departure from the norm to do something fun for her. And I should say the fabric is by Moda. I can't remember exactly. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen and then also down below in show notes in case you're interested. I don't think that this would be really hard to find for sale anymore. I bought this at a local-ish fabric store, but I just thought it was so cute. She has the same coloring as me, so it looked really pretty on her, and I thought it looked kind of period appropriate, so that was fun. I didn't bring it with me, but I also made her a mob cap, which is like the kind of ruffled bonnet that you see kind of as a period piece in colonial times. And that was very simple. It was actually included in the Simplicity pattern. It was a very large circle. I trimmed it about an inch and then sewed it. It just has kind of like an elastic band. I don't know what I'm saying. Elastic. You make a casing and then insert like a 1/4 inch elastic. So that was very easy to make. I thought it was really cute. So yeah, that was my finished project for the week. And consequently, I didn't have all the knitting time that I normally have. And then I also received my sock machine. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about all of my works in progress now. Since I mentioned it, I'm going to start with the sweater that I'm still working on. I am on Sleeve Island, I'll tell you that. I just cannot get through the sleeve, and I will. I mean, it's a child-sized sweater, so it shouldn't be too crazy. But this is the Alex sweater by Holly Stevens. I've been working on it for a couple of weeks now. It is a DK weight, and I'm holding my Noe Mohair silk yarn. It's a lace weight, and this is just the undyed color, and I'm holding it with the yarn. This is what I have so far. I have the entire body done. I'm trying to show you the entire thing. It's very long, and I did that on purpose because the daughter who I'm gifting this to, she can wear it kind of as like a little sweater dress. She's just loves leggings, and this will be really great for her. It'll fit her for a while too. And the reason I chose this sweater pattern is because it has this pocket right here, which I have not added the rib on yet, but oh, this is going to be so cute. It's going to be so much fun to play in. But here is where I'm at with the first sleeve. Yes, I'm getting there. I think this needs, I measured her arm, and it needs to be at least maybe 12 inches long before I start the ribbing. So this is going to be really fun. She's 6, and so this is just like totally, she's such a girly girl, loves, you know, unicorns and pink and glitter. So this will be really fun. But I'll go ahead and tell you briefly the yarns I'm using. The top yarn is by Fiber for the People in Round the Way, and then it fades into Princess Twilight Sparkle, which is pineapple yarn. The rest are also pineapple yarn in Fortunately Pink, Land of Sweets, which was my one of my holiday colorways for this year, and then my Ely. And so this was a really pretty fade, I think. I'm recording in the morning again, so I might get a little glare. But yeah, I ended up doing I thought I'd just finish off the collar, I guess, because I really don't want to do the sleeves right now for some reason, but I did that in my Ely as well, and I thought it was really pretty. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. I just need to finish the sleeves and then the trim on the pocket and we'll be done. We will be done. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to this being done, though it has been so fun knitting with the Mohair and the DK together. This has just been a really, really fun project, but I'm ready for it to be over, so I think that's probably what I will focus on this week, is just getting this done. So there is that. And then the next project I'm going to show you is my advent calendar minis project that I started. So if you did order the pineapple yarn advent calendar for this year, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're really loving knitting with it. It was so much fun putting together, totally fun. But if you don't want to spoil the surprise, you might want to skip this segment because I'm going to show a few colors. So what I did, I chose the new pattern by Amba O'Brien called the Adventuresome Wrap, I believe. And it's a beautiful pattern. I guess the issue is I'm trying to choose my words carefully because the pattern itself is absolutely gorgeous. It has been so much fun to knit. It has been a blast to knit. And I just don't think it's working with what I want from my yarn. The problem is, and I'll go ahead and show you what I have so far. The problem is that you needed a full skein of kind of a tonal yarn to break up every color as you went. And that's not the way I dyed my minis. I dyed my minis to be right next to each other. They will fade into a gradient, and they are all so unique. Each mini skein, each colorway is so unique that I don't think it looks good broken up with this. I just chose my colorway Princess, which I love. Obviously, I have a sweater that matches. I love this color, but I just don't like really how it's going. And one of my very sweet customers and friends, she just told me to frog it. Like, just cut your losses while you're at the beginning, knit something you love and that you're really gonna like. And I'm kind of leaning towards that at this point. Yeah, I just don't know. So I've done 3 days on this. It's, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what I should do. I wanted just more, I guess in my mind, I wanted more of just a fade, just like a really basic fade. Yeah, the other issue I'm having with this pattern is it only uses maybe half of each mini skein, and I kind of didn't want that. I kind of wanted to use at least most of it, and I think it's only using about 40, I could be wrong, maybe about 40 yards of each mini skein, and with my minis, each mini is about 92 yards. So I feel like it's kind of a waste too. I'm very much leaning toward I'm laughing at myself. I'm very much thinking of just kind of choosing a knitting motif or a pattern, and just knitting all of my minis from that. I found a lace pattern. It's a very simple lace, and I'm thinking of just using that and making like a long wrap or a long shawl, and just going mini after mini after mini. That's kind of what I'm thinking at this point, because I've looked at some of the advent calendar patterns out there and just really haven't fallen in love with anything like that. I guess I just had something very, very specific in my mind, and this wasn't it. So kind of disappointing, but I'll be honest too. I think that I had really high expectations that I was going to be able to knit a mini every day, and realistically, I just don't have that time right now, especially with gift knitting. Knitting for my children for Christmas is so much more important than knitting for myself, and so much more gratifying too than knitting for myself right now. So we'll see what happens. I'd love to hear your feedback. We'll just see where that goes in the next week. I will definitely keep you updated in that. So the third thing I wanted to talk to you about is I received my circular sock machine, which is so exciting. I can't even tell you how exciting it's been. Yeah, I purchased an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster at the end of September, and I received it about a week ago. And it has been kind of a bumpy ride. I'm not gonna lie. It's beautifully made. It's a beautiful machine. It's all metal. It's very heavy. And I mean, I really couldn't be more pleased with the quality, the attention to detail, the package itself. The packaging was crazy. It's very solid. It includes all the tools you need. It was just very, very well thought out. I guess I just expected it to like come out of the package and maybe not knit socks, because I know that like with heels and toes and all those, there is a kind of a process to that, but I at least thought I'd be able to knit tubes right away. And I have not. So, well, I can now, but definitely not for the first few days. Yeah, I had like 10 broken needles at the beginning. It was so crazy. So I did film an unboxing. Hopefully I'll be able to edit that and get it up soon, just because I thought you might want to see it and see what actually comes in the package. I still need to look through some of the material. There is quite, I have it right here, I'll show you. There is actually quite a thick manual that came with it. I mean, you can see it's pretty hefty. And it actually does come with some, some patterns. It kind of explains a few things, but yeah, really, let's be honest, like when you learn anything, you just need to do it and learn it. And I watched a lot of tutorials on YouTube and read a lot about circular sock machines while I was waiting for mine to come. And it's just not the same unless you actually have the equipment. And I'm sure you'll understand that. I do have to say, I think that the thing that I have realized, first of all, is that I kind of liken it to spinning. So when I first received my spinning machine, or my spinning machine, my spinning wheel, there's quite a steep learning curve. It's the same with this machine. There's just quite a steep learning curve, and I think part of that is just our expectations as makers, maybe, or mine. I always expect to get things right away, and when it doesn't happen, I get impatient. So that's just the way it is. The other thing too that I realized, and maybe this is different for people of maybe an older generation who had super high quality machines and whatnot. But I think that for us who kind of grew up in, I don't know, maybe a more modern era when we have plastic machines, you expect those machines to just come out of the gate and start rolling, and you don't have to really worry about anything. And even the all metal machines that we've experienced, like some of us love vintage sewing machines, me, those have all been used quite a bit. They're not brand new. And so the metal on metal is, it needs to be oiled like crazy, and it needs to be run like crazy to remove the sharp edges, basically. And so I did read this in the Erlbacher Gearhart Ravelry group. I think that's where I saw this. Just to run your machine on the lowest tension over and over, just run a ton of yarn through it. Don't worry about, you know, making a sock or ruining the yarn or drop stitches or anything. Just run it and put a ton of oil on it to, I think, just soften the edges, basically. And so that's what I did, is I ran a ton of yarn that for one reason or another I wasn't going to use. I ran a ton of yarn through it. And so I have used both. I bought two cylinders. I bought a 64 stitch and I bought a 54 stitch. And this is everything I knit with my 64 stitches. And as you can see, this is actually pretty wide, like for a sock or something. That's because I had the tension knob pretty loose on it. Every time I would get it a little bit, you know, try to tighten the stitches, it would just freak out, the machine would. So I had it on very loose and ran a ton of yarn through it. Then I switched to my 54 stitch and I ran this yarn through it, which was just a kind of a sample that I had. I don't even know when this, I dyed this like years ago. I have no idea what this is even from. But yeah, so I ran that through, and by that time I had realized, I think I ran some other yarn through, I don't know where it is now. I realized how to set the stitch length, how, you know, what kind of weights I needed and all that. I'll probably make a video about that down the line, just some really quick tips about, you know, what I've learned. I'm not an expert by any means, but it might help someone else out when they're first starting out. So I've been able to knit a few decent sock tubes on my 54 stitch cylinder, because that's the cylinder that is just in there right now. I knit up two of my clubs from last month. So I just have them kind of nested in here right now. This is my, this is from my Sun Club. This is just a really fun blend of kind of like turquoises and aquas with orange and yellow, and then some micro speckles. And the lighting is so funky today because I'm shooting in the morning with windows and sun coming through windows. I might have to just insert a picture here to actually show you the colors on these, because they are really, really fun. So I did this, and then I'm just going to unroll it. I went right into my Low Country for November, which was indigo dye, and this is also just such a fun blend of all different shades of blue, a little bit of purple. There's all different kinds of colors in here. So this was really fun because I'd wanted to knit these up for quite a while. I'm going to go ahead and show you how long these are. This is 50 grams. So these are the amounts that come in my sock sets. Wow, I can't even show you how long these are. So this is a tube that I just started one after another, as you can see right there. But that is on 54 stitches, and these are about, I want to say like 8 to 8.5 stitches per inch. This is how much 50 grams is. So that is quite a bit. I need to get my, and I plan on doing that today. I keep looking over here because this is where my machine is. But today or tomorrow or this weekend, I plan on putting the 64 stitch back on now that I know how to make the tension a little bit tighter, because I want to knit up some socks for myself. We'll see if I can get the 64 stitch to work. I mean, that's quite a big jump over the 54. I hope it fits me, because that's why I purchased it. So, but this is fortunately pink, so I can start knitting up samples for the shop. And this is why I purchased the machine in the first place, I wanted to be able to knit up samples of all of my colorways when I dyed them, and include them in the photos in my listing, my shop listings, so you can see how it knits up. I find that very helpful when I am purchasing yarn, just to know kind of how it's going to knit up. So that's great. And then I also have, I'm just going to lean over and get this next one that I'm making. So I did knit up another sample of a colorway that I just created. This is all kind of messy, but this is a new colorway that I developed. It's called Blue Hawaii, and it is based on the blue Hawaiian drink that maybe some of you know. That's kind of like, I think it has blue, what is the coloring? It's the coloring that gives drinks a really vibrant blue. Anyway, I'm sure that you all know that. But this has a really fun, this is just a really unique blend of some red speckles, very sparing red, so kind of sparingly all over red speckles. We have some kind of like a little bit darker yellows. There's a kind of a really fun, subtle blend of colors in this. And I found this written down I think 4 years ago when we actually lived in Hawaii, and I first started Pineapple Yarn. I wrote this idea down, and I was going through some notes and clearing out my some of my dye recipes, and I found that. So that's kind of fun. And so I decided that this was the time to go ahead and dye it. So I did, and that will be going into the shop during the next shop update. But yeah, that was a really, really pretty color. So that is what I have been working on this week, and do keep an eye out on my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, definitely go ahead and click subscribe right now so you don't miss any of the videos I have coming up. I will put that unboxing of my circular sock machine video. I'll be putting that up, and yeah, maybe just some like ideas of things, you know, if you're thinking about purchasing one, some things that maybe I will do next time. No, things I should have done. Things that I wish I would have known, or things that I would have purchased. For example, I have it balancing right now on it's clamped onto a 1x4, which is clamped by 2 other clamps on this table that I use for work, and it's like the worst setup really ever. So I did just purchase the table that Erlbacher Gearhart actually sells in the shop. I think it will definitely be worth it, and make it just a little bit easier to knit. But it's been really, really fun. When I got the hang of it, I think it's going to be good. So that's all that I've been doing for my projects this week, and I guess I'll go ahead and talk about what is going on in the shop. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of you who shopped the Black Friday weekend sale. It was so much fun being able to give you guys a great discount and a great sale just to usher in the holidays. And you know, if you're thinking about picking up some yarn, you're able to do it at a really good price. So thank you to all of you who shopped that sale. It was really fun including those Black Friday minis in your packages, and I hope you love them. but I won't be having a shop update this week. Now, normally I do it every other week, and so that would mean this weekend is actually, or this Friday would be the day to do it. I just don't have, I don't have enough to do a really good update, and I want to make sure that when I do updates, I have, you know, a good variety to choose from, and it's worth your while. And right now, the next few days, I will be packing up all of my clubs and sending them out. So I just finished pouring all the candles, and it smells so good in the studio. The candle this month is, it smells so good. I actually have a the sample I made. I have it burning right here, and I burn it every time I come out here because it smells so good. It smells really, really good. It's very appropriate for December. So I hope you love it. I'd love to hear what you think about it. And yeah, so I plan on getting all the clubs out by the end of the week, and then continuing to dye yarn and working toward my next shop update, which will be next Friday, December 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at pineappleyarn.com. Yeah, so that is what's going on in the shop. I wanted to also let you know, even though I'm not having a shop update this week, I did just put my new clubs up for January, and they are going to be so much fun. I'm going to show you them on the screen right now. So I did some really fun ideas this month for my, I guess I'll start with my Sun club, which is my Neon Brights club. It is a beautiful blend of really bright yellows with pink accents. So I chose a whole bunch of kind of citrusy photos because they're fresh and they're light, and I really like to start January off in just a really light, fresh way. And so all of those really reminded me of starting the new year off right, and they're sunny for, you know, winter doldrums. I think this is going to be a really pretty colorway. My next club is my Low Country club, which is kind of a tribute to the Low Country here in South Carolina, and then also to the culture of the South. This month I chose one photo because it is so beautiful. To me, this was a very beautiful photo. This month is going to be Charleston green, and if you're familiar with kind of the history here, one of the traditions is, instead of using black paint on the houses, different accents of houses, people use what's called Charleston green, which is it's black on its face, but it's not. If you look deeper, it's a very, very, very deep green. And so this photo is kind of my inspiration for the colorway. It will definitely have my take on a Charleston green, as well as some other greens, maybe some creams. So this photo is kind of what I'm going for. It'll be a softer look, and yeah, it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be a really fun challenge. So that will be my Low Country club. And then for my Glow club coming in January, it's called New Beginnings. And I really wanted to make a kind of a champagne-based scent, which is kind of bizarre, I know. But my Glow club is my yarn and candle club, and I like to pour a candle based on a theme and then dye a yarn that kind of goes with it and or coordinates with it. And so this month it's going to be some really beautiful kind of soft minty greens and blush pinks. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And the scent, I've already mixed the scent, and it is definitely, it has, I don't know if you can even say like bubbly scent. It definitely reminds me of champagne. I don't even know how to describe that. It's really interesting. And then I also put some kind of light fruity floral scents in it as well. So it's a very light, uplifting candle. It's not heavy at all. I think it's perfect for just a really nice uplifting scent, and I hope you try it out, and I hope you love it. It's going to be so much fun to create all of these clubs. So they are on the shop right now at pineappleyarn.com. They will be up until the end of December when I take them down to dye them. So if you have any questions, just let me know, pineappleyarn@gmail.com. You can also message me at Instagram or leave me a comment down here. It might take me a little bit to get to these comments. I don't know why. I don't get notifications, so I try to come on here and answer as many comments as I can. So yeah, if you ever need to get a hold of me, it's definitely best on Instagram or at my email. But that is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like the podcast, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe. I always really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend with me. But until next time, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.